JLRock percent off collector, and we're here with another Transformers unboxing and review. And today we have the Transformers Legends LG07 Jetfire, but not really. Why? Because if you can't tell by the box, I got this from AliExpress. Yet another KO. I keep going back to that well. Will this be a good toy or not? Let's find out. Alright, so as I said, we're here with the AliExpress version of the Jetfire from Takatomi LG07, and this is the Legends edition, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how AliExpress works, but I'm going to do that also while I'm opening this up, because as I said, this is a KO, so this is a knockoff, not the real thing, even though it has some of the things on here. But for me, I was more going for a Jetfire that I just thought was cool, because Jetfires are expensive, they're hard to come by. So for me, it's more about, does it look cool, is it fun, is it low cost? That's the kind of collector I am on this channel, and if you see my other reviews, they kind of match that. So I was able to find this on AliExpress for about, I think it was 30 bucks exactly, which is not bad. The legit version of this costs I think about 75 bucks, but of course it's out of stock now, so you're gonna be paying a lot more. But just looking at least at just the visual between this and what is seen on the, for the official, it looks pretty good. But obviously, usually what happens with these is it has to do with the quality control. And of course, you see that the box is messed up. And as we open this, I'm going to tell you a little bit about, the AliExpress experience, because there are some good YouTube videos out there, but unfortunately with YouTube, sometimes people are so inclined to do the shock value, make a big thing and just immediately start talking scam, that you can't always get a good idea on it. Like, hey, do I actually put my credit card on this, or it's going to end up on the, mafia web or something? So, as you can see, as I said, one of the things I'll tell you just straight off about AliExpress is getting the box is very important. You'll see that once you go on the website, a lot of times you have options whether to get the box or don't get the box. I always say get the box, because 9 times out of 10, they're gonna ship it like wrapped in kind of like bubble wrap type of packaging, and then like a poly bag. So it's gonna get crushed. So if you're a box collector, I'm just telling you right now, don't buy from AliExpress. If you open the box, then that's fine, because you can see the box got, hit around and stuff. And this did come in a poly bag, but it was wrapped with like thick plastic. But the box itself, it's not terrible, but it's not a collector's box. Then again, it's a knockoff, so that's up to you. But for me, I actually haven't had too many of the actual figures come in broken or anything like that. I did have like an action figure that was, and I have to say that as far as their return policy and all that, it's been great. But I have heard that it kind of depends, like, I guess the quickness and the ease of it depends on how you buy it. So I'll explain a little bit that as well. But again, looking at this and the legit version, so far everything's looking fine. And if you see some of my other reviews, especially like on the masterpieces, I mean, I have to say, I've been really impressed with how these have come out for the price. But, every collector has to decide what's important to them. Because I know some people that are masterpiece collectors and original collectors, and they wouldn't touch any of this with a 10-foot pole, no matter what, because that's just their thing. And that's totally valid. So, but this is for all of us who is willing to give stuff a try. So, I mean, I just gotta say, so this is a first impression. I didn't open this up before or anything like this, so this is my first time. So I'm experiencing it along with you. And I just gotta say, just first impressions, I think it looks sweet. As I said, being the percent off collector, a lot of things for me is like, I'm a volume person. I like to collect a lot of things, and it can just be on a whim. There are some things that I may like so much that I want the original. I'll go hunt it, I'll go pay for it. But there are other things where it's like, hey, I just want to try this out. And if I can get a good price and it turns out to be actually halfway decent, then that is what makes me happy. And one of the things that I always look for any of these knockoffs is like, how does it feel? because, even though I haven't been doing this long, but I went and I bought things from people loose. I bought things from garage sales. I bought knockoffs. I even went to the dollar store to try like different action figures and toys that they have. And you do start to get a feel like how things feel. Like even legit things, like some of the different Transformers lines, you start to feel the plastic. You're like, okay, this plastic feels thick. Wow, this feels really light. This feels flimsy. Wow, this feels thick. I have to say, just right off, this doesn't feel cheap. I guess maybe it can be hard to come off just looking at it, because like even a cheap plastic can look shiny. But to me, like when I feel the plastic, like it has a little weight to it. This doesn't feel like it's like that hollow. Like if anyone's ever had like a dollar store toy that's plastic, you feel it. It feels like it's air. It feels like you go like this and you'll punch a hole right through the plastic. This does not feel like that on first touch. So that alone starts to make me feel good about how this looks. So then, especially, trying to do reviews, like I'm not a pro at this, but I try to at least go with what people are looking for. So people always want to see the specifics, the details. They want to see if there's paint chipping. They want to see if there's cracks. And that is one thing that I'll say that, I almost expect to see, just because if you're paying that price. So it's like, another thing that you take into consideration being a collector is how much of that you want to tolerate. So like, for instance, me, like something like that or something like that doesn't bother me. I don't know if I can wipe this off or not, but that doesn't bother me. At the same time, I'll look and I'll be like, oh, they actually put like an Autobot symbol. Most of these knockoffs, they don't do that. So that's like an extra plus. And then at the same time, I'm looking at just the design compared to the real thing. So I'm like, okay, that cockpit looks cool. I'm looking inside. I don't know. Oh, it does open up. See, so I'm looking at that. So I'm like, okay, what about the inside? Usually that's where you might see a lot of things get jacked up, where it's like, okay, they didn't really take the time to do it in those little areas, but that looks fine. Same thing like with the guns area. It's like, yeah, I can see stuff here, but then I'm like, okay, does that look nice? Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, how about under here? Like, how does the gear look? Okay, that feels good. Doesn't feel cheap. It actually holds itself. It doesn't just, it's not super flimsy. So that's good. Then, you kind of start to do like the overall look of it. Like, all right, how does the face look? How does the Transformer just period look? And look, a lot of the Transformer planes have this kind of design where it's like underneath like that. So that's normal to me. But again, just doing more of a close-up just to see if I see just blatant errors. Now, if you're a collector that, is really experienced and you check like every little thing, and, especially if you put down hundreds of dollars, I can definitely see that if you see a couple of scuffs here, some paint issues there, you're like, no, that's not acceptable. And that is totally fine. But for me, considering the price point for this, so far, so good. I mean, this thing is looking sweet. And let's see. So, okay, so these are the regular gears. So then it matches up with here. So let's put this down, zoom out a little bit to get more of that profile. I mean, that just looks nice. And of course, we're going to transfer this, even though I'm going to use movie magic to do so. It looks though, am I doing this right with this? Because it looks like this just sits there. It doesn't actually roll like that because it's more like a stand. But I'm guessing maybe that's how it's supposed to be. If someone knows if that's true or not, let me know. But I mean, just the presentation so far, I just have to say looks really nice. And as I said, it doesn't feel like this thing is just gonna break and fall apart on me. Of course, we'll see when we transform it and all that. But I like that you can move these guns and stuff like that. And like you can see underneath here, I mean, everything that I'm seeing so far just looks really clean. And the way I do things also is I look at the price point compared to how much I'd pay for like the real thing. And if there's a huge gulf in the price, then I'm much more forgiving on any issues of quality or something like that. But I mean, again, so far so good. So let's put this on the turntable for a little spin. I'm going to tell you a little bit about AliExpress while we do that. All right, so here we got on the turntable. I swear this turntable, I don't know what's wrong with me. I read the instructions, but I swear I hit the button and it'll be like, it'll go the right way and then it'll go the wrong way and then it'll spin one way and then it'll start spinning the other way. And I see like this. So I'm gonna hit the other button and see what it does. And like now it doesn't, okay, it's going slower. Let's see, will it do the full spin or not? Because it has clearance. So it should do the full spin. No, it still doesn't want to do the full spin. So I'm gonna have to hit one of these. So I think this button should now complete the spin, but we'll see. All right, so that looks good. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about AliExpress and then we'll transform this guy and then be done. So with AliExpress, how I learned about it is I was on Temu and Temu was pretty bad. And AliExpress has all these deals, even though a lot of times the deals are gonna be kind of the same, they'll just call it a different thing. Amazon has that same trick. Basically where it's like, oh, this item will be on sale for our spring sale, our mid-spring sale, our late summer sale, our early fall sale. And then usually what they'll do is they'll start with a large price, just like Temu. They'll be like, oh, this thing is worth $99 and now we're going to sell it for 30, so it's 60 something percent off. I mean, it was not going to sell for 99 ever, but the 30 is still a good price. But they do sometimes still have little things where you get an extra dollar here, a couple extra dollars there. And the longer the item is there, the lower it can get. It's not gonna drop super low, but like, for example, I saw this item at like 38, 39, then it was like 36, and then it was like at 32. And then they have little coupons that you get. Not a lot, you maybe get, $1 off, $2 off. You spend 50, 60 bucks, you get 3, 4, 5 bucks off, maybe something like that. So that's a good way to get those deals. There's lots of YouTube channels that tell you about what companies to go after, and I'm going to zoom in a little closer on this while I'm explaining so you can see more of the plane close up. So there's different stores, because think of like, it's like kind of like Amazon, but like, how Amazon has authorized sellers or whatever. Well, they kind of have the same thing. So with anything like this, especially come from China, you do want to see if the stores have been around for a while. I've found personally that there's a thing called choice, and that's supposed to be, I guess, places that AliExpress kind of trust, I guess. And what I like about the choice, and you can see it's like a tab, where they'll give you free shipping if you buy something over 10 bucks. It's faster delivery. It's still going to be 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, but it's faster than like the non-choice. The free returns. Price adjustments, like literally if they send you an item and it's broken, you take a picture, you send it back. Sometimes they won't even tell you send it back if it's a low cost item, or they'll give you a partial credit, say you can keep it. I had an issue with that where a transformer came. The transformer was like 15 bucks. The box was jacked up. The machine, the actual transformer was okay. And then I said, hey, listen, I'm going to just return this. And they said, hey, you know what? We'll take half the price off. You can keep it. I was like, deal. You know me, percent off collector. No discount, no deal. This was like double discount. So I've actually done that a lot with AliExpress. So that could be a thing just to keep in mind for you guys out there, that if you get something, you have more protections. I have never once, and I've bought probably like 30 things, because you'll see I have a lot of videos coming down the pike. I bought a lot of things from AliExpress and I've never had an issue where I had to like fight to get my refund. I've always got it. And especially if you can connect it to a good credit card, I always recommend American Express, then you're good to go. So I would say do that. So the choice, checking to make sure that the store that you're buying from has been around for a while, has good reviews, and then make sure you read the description. Like, I looked this up, I watched some videos on it ahead of time, so I knew what I was getting, at least in general. But as I said, just looking at this is beautiful. So for me, this price for what I was looking for, everything was perfect. But of course, it is up to you to decide if that's the case. So you've seen this spin around, you've seen on the little turntable underneath. I don't see anything that's glaring. If you guys do, let me know in the comments. But now we're going to transform this guy because, it looks really sweet in this plane, so I'm already happy. Let's see how it stands up when it's transformed into its robot mode. Actually, one more thing before we transform. I do want to show that you can take off that top part of the gun. So I just wanted to show you that it came off clean. I didn't have any problems, and as you can see, there's no issues that I see where you took it off. Also, with the little accessories, it's basically just a bunch of different guns, and it does seem like all of them do fit on the wing. So you have this larger one, though this one seems like it's a little bit harder, but it does fit. So you're able to put in the slots, and even I think you can mount it down here. Yeah, so you can mount basically all the different little guns in all those slots, and I think even back here. Yeah, so just to give you an idea, I think that one, just because how it's designed. So if you can see, you can mount these little guns all over the plane, which is a nice touch too. And then of course there's the little missile that goes into here, and then that one fires out. So that's really sweet. So I just wanted to let you guys see that as well. All right, so now on with the transforming. Okay, so here he is transformed into his robot mode, and I have to say the transformation was not that difficult, and it was also kind of interesting in learning just about like the quality. So there's a few things that I want to point out, but let me say first of all, overall the transformation is not that difficult to do. And what was interesting is looking at the different videos on how to transform this guy. One of the things that they talked about was how, especially with these arms here, and I'll show you, you basically on the back here, you have to kind of bend it to fit into this slot, and you can see like it kind of came out. But the thing is that this happens on the legit version too. But the reason I bring that up is because a lot of times that's the things people worry about with knockoffs, where if you have to bend or pull something, or if you have to slot into something, is that where the quality is going to come and bite you? And I have to say, so far, I hadn't had any of the problems. As I said, see, it still kind of fits, but it also could be like how I lined it up too. But like everything else where it's supposed to fit in, like here, down here, I think here, at the legs it got a little popped out too. But part of this is also like me just getting better at transforming, so I can definitely tighten up on that part. But it is something to be aware of. And my head is definitely loose. I mean, look at that. So I mean, does that bother me? No, but I point that out to you so that you can see. But everything else, oh, and also the other part is that the feet, because I was looking at some of the others, it looks like for me I kind of got broken feet. You see I get extra close, so it's like, you see it's off, but it still stands. So again, I know that I'm getting something, and you see on the back, you can really see it there. So I don't know if that's part damage or if that's defect, but you get like real close, like you can see that it's off. So these are things that I always point out, because you know, it's your money, so you have to decide if things like that is going to be like a deal breaker, or for 30 bucks compared to whatever this would cost otherwise, would that be okay? Now I can tell you some other things that I like the ratchet. I mean, that feels good. Now these arms you can like slide off, but I didn't have any problem with it. It's also seemed pretty stiff, like here, like you hear that's really nice. And again, as so far doesn't feel cheap. And then here with the legs, I mean, that feels decent. The rotation there, the rotation there. So all of that for me is nice. So I mean, I love that rotation, you know, that sound that comes from that. So I mean, the head is loose, and like I said, like this part here, especially with the wings, because this is the ones that they were talking about in the video where you have to bend it down to make it fit. Everything else seems to be right. I'll definitely work on the groin area here. Basically, these two are supposed to be a little bit closer, But I don't know. See, like I can get it in, but it pops out. So I don't know if that's me. Like maybe I need to readjust this area here, even though this fits in as well. So it could, that still could be just me getting better at actually fitting it together. It could also be once I transform it back and forth a couple of times, we won't have this problem anymore. But I wanted to point it out. So of course, with the different guns, you can put the guns onto him. And I think you can, yeah. I don't know if it has to be one way, but I assume that for the most part, you wanted to they're looking to have like the bigger guns in his hand, and then you have the smaller ones on its side. And that seems to fit okay. And then of course, I guess this is like his main gun. So that does feel like hard to get into the hand, but that, oh, see, that's what I was talking about. But see, this is supposed to be like that, but still, just to be aware, like that's not a break. That's supposed to be, but and it seems to slide in. So again, another thing to take note of. And of course, you can put any other pieces up here, so you're able to do, you know, how you'd like to as far as that design. And as I said, you have the missile that fits in like that. So, and then of course you can bend it forward like that. You can bend it back. You can turn these legs. There isn't a waist turn though. But I don't know. I mean, as I said, for me, I'm happy with this. Oh, of course, I almost forgot, man. Look what he also has. Let me zoom in on that. It's got the face mask, which is nice. I mean, look at that. I mean, on the back, yeah, sure, you got some issues, but I think that's sweet. So how does that fit? I think it's like that. Kind of fits weird. Let me see. I don't know if it's supposed to go further. Like, it actually looks fine like that, so maybe not. But you see, because of the loose head, now it really kind of sits low because this back here blocks that. So I mean, again, these are those little things that you deal with, but I mean, there's things that I could do to make that not be a problem, but that's definitely not how it should be. So, and I still just love the fact that this shoots. So yeah, so I mean, overall, like I said, I am happy with this figure. I actually think it looks better without this extra thing, even though it does make it look sweet. Let me just, you know, show that off real quick, how that looks. I think that it does look cool. And I like the fact that you can mount things on this as well. So like you can really play around with this. And I just think that just the whole design looks sweet. So overall, we'll just do a quick look at each section as it rotates. And I have to say that I would definitely give this one a good look. I think altogether I paid $30 with shipping because I had like maybe a $1 coupon here. Then I collect their silly coins, so that gave me another 50 cents. So I think it was like $30 delivered. And for that, I have no problem with this. Jetfires are hard to come by. I love Jetfire, and I'm really happy with how this looks. I mean, even just to point out, just like, you know, the chest, like the Transformer logo in the chest like that, I just think, look at that. I mean, that looks sweet. So I'm happy. You know, the kibble in the back, nothing bad, nothing bothered me. So again, it's up to you to decide, but I can definitely say that I am happy to add this Transformer to my collection. Oh God, he lost his arm. He lost his arm. Hey, thanks for checking out the channel. And if you like what you've seen, please consider giving us a like, comment, a sub, all that stuff. It really helps the algorithm as we try to make a push to reach out to more collectors that, like me, like to get that discount. Because you know how I say, no discount, no deal. All right, catch you later.